Good afternoon, everyone. Our fellow teachers, leaders of education, we'd like to welcome you to this session. We are passionate teachers of English from various countries in the global South context, and we are pleased to have you here with us. We are Hornby scholars, and we are here through a marvelous opportunity with the Hornby Educational Trust as scholars, and we are here representing our countries, and it's an honor to be here presenting at IATEFL. I am Leonardo Marinho Dias Lima, hola, just greeting you in my beloved native Portuguese language, and these are my colleagues who will briefly introduce themselves in their own languages as well.
Hello, my name is Maya, and I come from Iran.
My name is Yuveri Rasifatu Tombiri. I'm from Cameroon.
Xin chào, my name is Hang Pham and I come from Vietnam.
Hamjambo, my name is Danson Kimari. I'm from Kenya in East Africa.
Salam, I'm Joey Jaffrey and I'm from Kabul, Afghanistan.
Merhaba, I'm Merve Demir and I'm from Turkey.
Marhaban, my name is Hassan Arnaout from Syria.
Kavanat Chawai, I'm Sumaya Akhtar from Bangladesh.
And we are all Hornby scholars, and the AS Hornby Educational Trust empowers teachers from global South context, countries with low and middle income, as ourselves, through the Hornby Scholarship Scheme, which we're all proudly part of, through some funded projects to alumni and teacher associations, and some regional schools called Hornby schools. And we have been awarded the chance to study at the marvelous University of Exeter, which is a top educational institution in TESOL studies and in education as well. And we are taking an MEd TESOL, and we are pleased to be there in Exeter, and it's a wonderful opportunity to be there and to take this program where teachers as ourselves are empowered and qualified to promote teacher development in our countries. And we are here to talk about teacher development, and I will hand over to Mavi, who will introduce our topic.
Hello everyone, I'm Merve. Today we are thrilled to share our insights on teacher development in global South context, constraints and affordances. Our presentation today will be based on our personal knowledge and experiences of continuing professional development, or CPD, in our own context. We have decided to share our personal stories with you and to draw out themes that we hope you will find useful and interesting. Our presentation today is based on our discussions that we have been having since we first started our studies at the University of Exeter last September. And first, Ihsan will introduce the considerable constraints that we and other teachers have been facing, but most of our presentation will focus on the affordances, or in other words, possibilities. These actually include taking courses and benefiting from teacher associations and networks and other possibilities offered by teacher groups. Some of us actually formed themselves. And in the end, we aim to finish with final reflections and leave some time for your questions and comments. Let's hear from Ihsan about the constraints. Over to you.
Hello everyone. In our journeys as English language educators in the global South, CPD opportunities are a beacon of hope, but also a path riddled with obstacles. Of course, there are a lot of differences in our own contexts. However, together we agree that there are important constraints to be addressed, such as the following. One of the starkest realities we face is the scarcity of resources. This involves financial constraints, but also access to quality materials and training programs tailored to our unique educational contexts. The infrastructure for CPD and teacher training is often inadequate, with limited access to digital platforms, inconsistent internet connectivity, and a limited number of local training centers. There are also country-specific limitations, such as the economic collapse and sanctions in Syria and Iran, the civil war in Syria, and the 2023 Turkey-Syria earthquakes, as well as the rising political tensions in the global south generally. There are other big problems of low pay, gender pay gaps, excessive workload, and the lack of opportunities for promotion. In addition, there is generally inadequate or over theoretical pre-service training, which most of us feel does not prepare us properly for the realities of teaching in low-resource contexts. There's also the lack of in-service training or very top-down or transmissive training provided by the government, not responding to teachers' needs, or even with the lack of input from teachers' voices. In fact, we strongly believe that fostering communities of practice and prioritizing dialogue among educators across diverse contexts are crucial, so we can begin to navigate those constraints more effectively and within our context, and learn how to resolve context-specific ELT issues. Systematic hurdles include lack of general awareness or recognition of the importance of CPD, bureaucratic red tape, and also an educational culture that undervalues informal collaborative learning as opposed to traditional qualifications. So what's the impact of these constraints? These issues prevent teacher innovation and opportunities for teachers to stay up to date with the latest teaching practices and or to adopt new classroom technologies. Teachers' needs are neglected, and there's a lot of demotivation and frustration among teachers, as well as job insecurity, and these result in reduced student engagement and inequitable learning opportunities. So far, we've identified major constraints to CPD, but now we are going to look at the affordances that can exist based on our own experiences. Now, I'd like to invite my friend and colleague Sumaya Akhtar to talk about the affordances.
Thank you, Hassan. I'm here to introduce our affordances in CPD in Global South context from our own experiences. Affordances, as we can understand, are resources and opportunities that appear to us in unique circumstances. We find out that through these opportunities, we can actually go forward with our CPD. We find out that through these opportunities that we have received, we can actually overcome the shortcomings that our Ehsan have mentioned. Ehsan has mentioned a lot of constraints ranging from limited resources to infrastructural shortcomings and even lacking provided training. In this kind of shortcomings and constraints, each of us have a story to tell, and these stories are of resilience, creativity, and innovation. We will do this in 3 parts. First, we will focus on the courses and webinars that each of us have enjoyed, each of us taken opportunity from. Next, we will talk about teacher associations and networks. And finally, we will talk about local teacher groups. So at first, I would like to invite my friends and colleagues, Mariam from Iran, Javed from Afghanistan, and Danson from Kenya, to share their experiences with us and see how they have benefited from the courses and webinars that they have attended and how these have contributed in their CPD. I will invite Mariam.
Good afternoon, esteemed guests and fellow colleagues. My name is Mariam Safraki and I come from Iran. With over 13 years of experience teaching English, I'm honored to share my story with you today. When I started my job, my very first challenge was that, unlike my colleagues, I didn't have any background in English language teaching, but in electrical engineering. So I took part in a teacher training course held in a language school that used to offer Cambridge courses before more and more sanctions affected Iran. So it was my very first step. I learned a lot and it led to a teaching job in that language school. Fast forward a couple of years, I heard about a teacher who was conducting some of her courses online. And it was well before pandemic made those classes quite common. So just out of the curiosity, I decided to take part in those courses as a student. And I learned a lot about how those courses would work, including their challenges and solutions. I thought that I wanted to be in a more international environment. I never had a native English-speaking teacher. I wanted to be among those people who spoke the language that I was teaching. And due to a lot of sanctions, big educational names like Cambridge, Oxford, British Council, Macmillan don't have any branches or professional development courses in our country. So I made the decision to invest all my savings as a teacher in me and in taking part in a CELTA course. It was really helpful because for the first time, I learned how to prepare my lesson plans more professionally. Also, I learned to reflect on my teaching job after each TP session, teaching practice session. And we were supposed to submit everything online on Google Classroom, so I got familiar with educational technologies. Also, along with the students in my classes, there were 4 colleagues of mine, as well as my Cambridge tutor, who would observe my classes and would give constructive comments after each TP sessions, which was really invaluable. And also, I could expand my professional network there. Then I returned to Iran. COVID hit. Well, I was quite prepared, and it was a really good opportunity for me to help my colleagues. Although I had already this experience of being in online classes and was familiar with the technology, I decided to take part in a course titled A2C of Teaching Online. I could be more efficient in my classes after that course and could help my colleagues better. And then I decided to gain more international experience. So I moved to Turkey. And in order to find a job, I needed to improve my LinkedIn profile. And I'm really glad that I did. LinkedIn allowed me to connect with professionals that I admire and see their career journey, which was really inspiring to me. So I could join the educational system in that country, and I could get a job as a teacher in middle and high school. Due to my background in engineering, I was asked to teach math, science, and social sciences to students of 7th grade. Well, it was really challenging because it was my first time doing that, and also I was supposed to tailor all the materials, every single session by myself. It was challenging, but I learned a lot during this process too. Also, in those schools, I was chosen to be an usher for one of the ushers for Cambridge exams for schools. So I learned that, okay, because I'm not in a country under a lot of sanctions, I can apply for being an examiner. So following passing the interviews and assessment courses, I could become a Cambridge YLE speaking examiner. And I learned a lot about assessment there. And my most recent step was taking part in Delta Module 1 preparation course and passing the exam. It was also really helpful because, I was among a lot of like-minded teachers who were really professional, really knowledgeable and educated. I could learn a lot from them in classroom discussions and in breakout rooms. Actually, it was online and part-time because I had to work. And now I'm really honored that I've been awarded the Hornby Scholarship, and I'm doing my master's in TESOL here in England. So thank you very much for listening to my story. Now I would like to invite my friend and colleague, Jovi, to come here and share his inspiring story with us. Over to you, Jovi.
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Jovi Jeffrey, and I'm from Kabul, Afghanistan. I completed my BA in English Language Literature at Kabul University. I have been an IATEFL teacher for many years now. Unlike Mariam, she did her degree in engineering, I had the basic knowledge of English and teaching some basic knowledge about teaching English and teaching methodologies. But that was because of the curriculum was basically literature focused. I felt that was not sufficient and I needed to enhance more, to develop more, to be a successful and more impressive English teacher. So I decided to get an opportunity, any chances to attend any online workshops, conferences, or where possible offline courses where it was possible. It's not quite easy. Look, like I can say it's quite difficult in my context in Afghanistan to obtain some professional development courses there due to many reasons. The most common, like for example, security reasons, instability, and lack of resources there. So every teacher, they do not have the chance to get any or to obtain any professional development courses. But I was lucky because I had a stable internet connection and I was living there in Kabul. I had many opportunities which I'm going to discuss today about the two most important of the CPD courses which shaped my life as an English teacher to be a more successful English language teacher in my context. The first course which I took, it was a 3-week online English teacher training course that was offered by the University of Indiana. The course was actually not free, but that was paid by the US Department of Afghanistan in Kabul, in Afghanistan. The course was designed for the teachers who are involved with English Access Micro Scholarship Program. I'm sure you know quite about the English Micro Scholarship Program. As I was one of the teachers there in Kabul, one of the teachers there at English Micro Scholarship Program, I had the chance to take this training course that was 3 weeks. The focus of the course was on developing lesson planning and how to use the lesson plan, how to use that in our daily teaching. And teaching methodologies, especially, for example, the innovative teaching methodologies, which basically in Afghanistan is still the teachers, English teachers, like they mostly focus, or I can say that they use grammar translation method, which is very common and very famous in Afghanistan. And lastly, the integration of technology in our classes. Though, there are lots of issues in my context, like, for example, low resources, or in many schools or universities, they lack resources, but still we got this chance. The course helped me to develop my skills on developing lesson planning, which is very rare in context of Afghanistan. Like, for example, most of the high school teachers or the teachers, EFL teachers, they do not know or they do not have lesson plannings while they are teaching. But through the course that I took, it helped me to enhance to learn how to develop a lesson plan and how to use that lesson plan in my classes. And also I have learned innovative teaching methodologies, which was opposed like grammar translation method. It was based on the needs of the students, and as well as on the components of teaching English, like for example how to teach grammar, how to teach reading, how to teach writing to students. The second course that I took, it was a one-week teacher training development course by the British Council. It was face-to-face. That was actually, it was very limited. It was only for 10 English teachers in Kabul, who are based in Kabul. The course was an offline face-to-face. The emphasis of the course, this course at the British Council, it was on, again, developing lesson planning and how to, for example, use the lesson planning, and most importantly, about teaching of each skills in English language. For example, mostly in my context, the teachers, they go, the way they teach pronunciation, the way they're going to teach grammar, which is very common there. But through this course, it helped me a lot to know, for example, at least some innovative methodologies, techniques, how to teach, for example, grammar in my class, based on the levels and needs of my students. So, during these two courses that I have mentioned to you, and other webinars, online webinars or conferences that I have attended, they have shaped the path, my journey as an English teacher. They have helped me a lot that I could be a more successful English teacher in my context. And as I mentioned at the beginning, that it's not easy for everyone, like for example, to get these opportunities there, especially when they are based in Afghanistan, or even if they're based in rural areas. But I can say I could make them, because like attending so many conferences, webinars, and taking some courses, they helped me a lot to be an effective language teacher. Thank you. Over to Danson Committee.
Thank you so much. My name is Danson Kimadi. I am from Kenya. Just like Jawid, my story is similar to him in a way, because for my undergraduate studies, I did Bachelor of Education in English and Literature. But unfortunately, some of the skills that I got were just theoretical skills. So it was very hard for me to bring the gap between theory and practice, because what you were taught in class is different from what you're going to apply in class. So we have a gap there, and unfortunately, we don't have so much training, pre-service training or in-service training for teachers in Kenya. So this one was a little bit hard for me. The first 2 years I worked in a school where it was a girls' school, and then later on I moved to a secondary school which is a boys' school. In Kenya it's a little bit tricky because girls are more receptive to English language learning than boys. Don't know if it is common here. The challenges that I had were like double, so it became a little more hard for me to cope with some of the challenges. For example, we have a heavy workload, we have a lot of work as teachers because we are understaffed. We also have the multilingual concerns, because in a normal class in Kenya you expect to have around 20 or more languages represented. Besides Swahili language, which is very common in East Africa, we have indigenous languages. Also, we had issues to do with large classes. Sometimes students, we have more than 50 students in a single class, and with the work of marking assignments and so many other things, you find that there's a lot of work to do. This one prompted me to try and see how best I could become a better teacher. And I had to connect with like-minded people through platforms like LinkedIn and Facebook. And most of the teachers, especially the native speakers, you find that they are doing everything possible within their means to become better teachers and to get the best for their students. So I went and took a number of courses, short online courses, and also attended some online events like webinars and conferences. And one of the most outstanding events was the TESOL certificate course, courtesy of Arizona State University. This one was online, fully online. It was self-paced. Took me around 9 months. I had to pay some money, but fortunately also I wrote an application to have them funding, because it was on Coursera and they could give me some funding for some modules. It was very engaging, it was very rigorous. Because besides just the normal learning of how to teach areas like maybe pronunciation, teaching of grammar, integration of technology in learning and so many others, I was supposed to do the practical bit of it by coming up with lesson plans, 10 lesson plans, and also record more than 10 videos of me teaching. For instance, if I learned about how to teach grammar, I was supposed to shoot a lesson on me, or of me teaching grammar, and then I was supposed to submit it online for peer review by other students. And then at the end of it all, I was supposed to have lecturers from the Arizona State University assessing them so that I can get the certificate at the end of it all. So it was very rigorous, took so many modules from it. And that is where, fortunately, I learned some basic video editing skills, because if you're supposed to shoot a video maybe for 6 to 10 minutes, you obviously shoot more than 10 videos before you get those 6 to 10 minutes. And for you to get the best part that you feel this is the best that is going to give me a score, then you need to be someone who is very conversant with editing. So I found it so hard to engage someone else to edit because I wanted to get the best of it. So I got basic video editing skills. I could also come up with some materials for my class, because I engaged my students in some of the videos and some others that I just did them in my house. Besides that, I also took some other short courses, courtesy of the British Council. For example, through the teaching pathways, we have lessons on teaching of pronunciation, how to teach grammar, multilingual class concerns, and so many others. I also did others by Cambridge University, and also attended online events like the online webinars and conferences. And one of the most outstanding one was the L-Talk conference, which is by the Oxford University Press. Through expert reviews by other people from different places, I got skills and knowledge on how best I can incorporate some strategies in my class, and then they become more effective. Also, 1 million teachers was very, very productive to me, because I also learned skills and knowledge from all the same. Now, when it came out to the practical bit, these are just a snippet of me. This is a lesson that I shot with my students in class for the Arizona State University certificate. And as you can see, I came up with, it was a technology-enriched lesson, because when you learn how to use technology in class, you're supposed to put it in practice. So I came with a projector here, and I was teaching a lesson on pronunciation, which is a problematic sound. So I had learned the art of creating or using audiovisual aids on materials in your classes. So by using the audiovisual aid of a poster that I came up with, and coming up with the materials and the resources that are provided by the school, like the projector and getting materials from YouTube, the lesson was more vibrant and the students enjoyed it better, and it became more productive than initially it would be when I did it theoretically. Besides that, I learned about things to do with like having students, guiding practice for students. After teaching them, you don't just let them go. Sitting down with them and then guiding them on what they're supposed to do and what they're not supposed to do. So like this one is a group of students that I was guiding them on a certain area. Then besides that, I could come up with some materials. I learned something to do with the I3 Learn App through the same course, because in this case, it's just materials for teachers, whereby I could teach students a topic like giving of directions. These are practical skills. But in this case, when you tell students give directions from a place to another, it will be very impossible, because it is very theoretical and they can't apply it. But using an application that I learned through these courses, I3 Learn App, I could come up with some places that the student could contextualize. Because if I just tell students maybe talk about Eiffel Tower, for example, they won't know because it's not in their context. But if I come with the Uhuru Park, it's a park in Nairobi, people can understand, students can understand. If I come with an airport, I came with a Danson Kimathi International Airport over there. And I could tell students, just come here, move maybe the place, you can juggle around with the ones using my laptop because it's on the projection. So they could move a place, and after learning, guiding them, you could see students were more vibrant and they felt it was more engaging for them to do it, and they were so happy, even like asking someone, give me directions from maybe move Lansoma here and move this to them, then give me directions from here to there. So at the end of the day, it was something that benefited me a lot. This is a sample poster that I did for that particular Arizona State University course. I designed it myself. The only thing that I did was just outsourcing someone to print it for me. And as you can see, this teaching of combination, letter combination CH, to teach my students some problematic issues. Sometimes in case I have an issue, just go and get materials online and then I'll use them. So basically, they were of so much help, and I can say that overall, online courses and online materials, despite the challenges, they were very productive for me. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you, Dan, and Mariam and Javed, to share their experiences that they had with different webinars, online courses, and how they had actually benefited them in their CPD journey. We found out from Javed that not all the opportunities were free for everyone, and they were not always accessible to them. Sometimes they had to seek out that opportunity. Some of the opportunities were free, especially webinars, but some other were actually opportunities that needed financial input, which is not always possible for every one of us. Now, I would like to see that we would move on to the new section, which is Teacher Associations and Network, following the hints that we had found from Mariam and Danson, how they had used social medias like LinkedIn and Facebook to connect to other teachers all over the world. And in this regard, I would like to invite my friend Yviri from Cameroon, Han from Vietnam, and Leonardo from Brazil to share their experiences and their CPD journeys. Over to you, Yviri.
Hello everyone, my name is Yviri Rasifatu and I come from a small village called Mbiami in Cameroon. And today I am so excited to tell you my story of how an online community of practice changed my career. I have been teaching for the past 10 years. And the first 7 years of my teaching, I did not engage in any continuing professional development. In fact, I had no idea that after you go to a teacher training college and you come back to work as a teacher, you have the possibility to continue receiving training as a teacher. So I was very comfortable in my going to class, teaching, and coming back to my house. But there were times I felt like my teaching toolbox was really depleted and I had no idea of what to do to replenish it and enhance my teaching skills. And COVID-19 hit. And as people were crying, something good happened to me. An online community of practice for the Cameroon English and Literature Teachers Association was formed on WhatsApp. That was in 2019, during lockdown. And I joined this community of practice in 2020. And that was going to be the beginning of my transformative continuing professional development journey. How did I benefit from it? I benefited from this platform thanks to the numerous activities that were well organized and that were happening on this platform. We had micro teaching sessions, we had weekly discussions, success stories were shared, and CPD opportunities were also shared on this platform. Now, talking about micro teaching, every week, a different teacher will prepare a lesson on any language skill and deliver on this platform. And then, as I observed these teachers teach, I was shocked with the innovative teaching methods they were using. And I realized that we were living in the same country, but I was in another world. But I had been so comfortable with the little knowledge that I had acquired for the previous 7 years that I left the teacher training college. And I got motivated and I wanted to learn more. So as I observed them use these innovative teaching methods, I began to reflect about my teaching practices, about my beliefs, and about my challenges as a teacher. And I took this as a challenge, and I told myself that whatever they are doing, I am also going to do it. Now, we also had weekly discussions. They were on different topics, about different issues in ELT, like multilingual issues in the classroom, class management, several ELT issues were discussed. And during these discussions, I learned a lot. I gained insight from my peers because they discussed so many issues. And then it was also an opportunity for me to connect and collaborate with other English language teachers across Cameroon. Of course, I had just been comfortable in my small school with my colleagues in my department. But through this community of practice, I had the opportunity to network with so many other teachers from so many other parts of Cameroon. I was updated about the recent trends, research, and best practices in ELT. This really motivated me, and I took up that challenge that I was equally going to get that knowledge that they had gotten and equally come back and share with other colleagues like they were doing. Now, all of these things happened because colleagues who had received any form of CPD out of the community of practice, they happily cascaded the new skills and knowledge that they had received. And this formed a cycle of continuing professional development within the online community of practice. So it formed this community where peers were readily available to support their own colleagues in their own CPD journey. So just within an online community of practice WhatsApp group, people were able to learn and change and develop and enhance their skills as English language teachers. There was one outstanding thing that happened on the platform. Colleagues who had engaged in continuing professional development years before some of us, they shared their stories with us. If they had attended a conference like the IATEFL conference, they would share pictures on the platform. If they had received training, they would share. And I told myself, if they can do that, then I can also do that. And I took that challenge that whatever thing they were doing, I was also going to share my own success story. So this was a lot of inspiration for me, watching these colleagues share their inspiring stories about the trainings, the skills, and the knowledge they had acquired from different opportunities they had acquired, both at the national and international level. So here we have, this is a colleague who got an opportunity to attend the just ended TESOL conference, and she shared on the platform. That is exactly what used to happen. That inspired not just me, but so many other colleagues in Cameroon. And then, continuing professional development opportunities were and are always shared on this community of practice. Here we can see some of them. We have the Hornby Trust Scholarship that's been shared on the Camelter chat group. I'm sure you can see it. We have another one, it's a Fulbright Scholarship that has been shared by some colleagues on the community of practice. I took advantage of all these opportunities that were shared. And I have since then attended uncountable continuing professional development learning opportunities, both at the national and the international level, including the Hornby Scholarship that has brought me here today, because the opportunity was equally shared on that platform. Okay. So, just from an online community of practice, I have not just enhanced my teaching skills, but I have also been able to forge relationships beyond the classroom, beyond Cameroon, and I have seen the relationships that I have received ignite a common passion for excellence in CPD in my country, not just in my community of practice, but in my country as a whole. Thank you so very much. Over to you, Han.
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Han Pham and I come from Vietnam. My colleague Iberi has just shared about the usefulness of a WhatsApp-based community within a teacher association. And coming from a country with 66 million users of Facebook, today I want to share with you about a national Vietnamese teacher development network on Facebook, which has been influential for me. I think this teacher-initiated network called People TESOL shows some aspects of a dissension ELT approach. It was set up 3 years ago amid COVID by a former Vietnamese Hornby scholar, and it now has 22,000 members, including pre-service, in-service teachers, ranging from primary, secondary to lecturers and researchers. Now, the group's objectives is to discover and promote English language teachers in Vietnam to locally and collectively address their specific condition, which involve a bottom-up approach to developing a wide network of teachers in Vietnam. So, in short, if you are a teacher of English and you have a Facebook account, then you are welcome to join this empowering group. Now I'm going to talk about the major activities in this group, which keeps it dynamic. First of all, on a daily basis, there are updates by key members to understand teachers' situated needs and capabilities. This is one example of how the founder of the group is trying to understand teachers' demand of earning a certificate in TESOL. You can see CELTA, Delta, TKT. And this is the use of the question post and surveys. And second, any members can share about their successes as long as, and also struggles as well, from classroom activities to information about local training courses. Collaboration, including likes, share, and comments, is highly welcomed. When they share a post, they are asked to use a hashtag to indicate the type of content. In both of these two examples, the hashtag TS experience has been used. So when click at those hashtags, members can see previous posts reflecting on teachers' experiences. Now I would like to talk a little bit more about the use of hashtag. Now every post has to start with a hashtag TS, which stands for TESOL Share, and then you can add tips, tools, knowledge, materials, or you can even invent a new hashtag for yourself. The use of hashtag helps with organizing information and prevent repetition of information as well. Besides, there's also a lot of sharings about webinars and teacher development projects. For example, this one from British Council and Hornby Trust projects. And finally, many of the posts are actually research-informed content, which are reporting on research article using simplified language, and it helps bringing ELT theories closer to the community of teachers. For example, this is one post that it helps explaining the basics of the cognitive processing relating to lecturings. Now, one positive effect of this kind of post is it helps encourage teachers to join conferences as research-informed practitioners, not just leaving those conferences exclusively to researchers. Now, for me personally, the People of TESOL group has had a transformative and empowering effect on my professional life. It has been a great source of TESOL knowledge, specifically tailored to ELT teachers in Vietnam. And in fact, through this group, I have learned about the Hornby Trust Scholarship, which has opened new doors for my educational journey here in the UK. And although Facebook is a virtual platform, but the dedication to developing this group to 22,000 members has been genuinely impactful. I have met great mentors in real life through this group, and every time I interact with this group and learn from my fellow educators, I become more connected and committed to my teaching career. Now, to sum up, I would like to talk about the affordances that such a group as Group of TESOL allow, and what is needed to make the best out of it or what it asks for. So first of all, in this group, teachers are given space to express their views in a non-threatening environment. It is easier to post in a group and get responses from fellow educators. And also, because of the use of the hashtag, it forms a searchable bank of knowledge, so that later on other teachers can search, analyze, and evaluate. On the other hand, teacher needs to have strong intrinsic motivation to participate in it. And also, they need to be willing to take part in social interaction, which is a crucial element for learning to take place. This also wraps up my presentation on the use of Facebook for teacher development in Vietnam. And now I would like to invite my colleague Leo.
Hello again, I'm Leonardo from Brazil, and thanks Iviri and thanks Han for your insight and for the initiatives that you talked about. And Iviri talked about a very curious initiative in Cameroon, a community of practice based in WhatsApp, and Iviri and Han, national collaboration platform on Facebook, which seem to be very bottom-up approaches. And now I'm going to talk about my own experience with teacher associations, and I'll be critical, though I hope constructive, about this. And I am originally from a large city called Recife in Brazil. You might have heard about it because Recife has a large carnival, and it's a multicultural center, has a rich history, and it is notably known as the birthplace of educator Paulo Freire. And in fact, Freire's critical pedagogy have been really important to my own pre-service training, and these ideas have influenced me as an educator and as a teacher trainer. And I advocate for an environment where dialogue, humanistic approach, openness, maturity are at the forefront, and very different and contrasted with the traditional top-down banking model of education. And so, to me, informal and bottom-up approach to teacher training has been the most important part in my career, and has been fundamental, I'd say, and both in the kind of pre-service training that I have received, and I'm mostly satisfied with, and my development as a teacher trainer, and as a leader in education in Brazil. Well, I have always taken part in teacher associations initiatives, conferences, projects, and I have been in leadership positions myself, but I have found that these informal aspects of training are most important because they are overall very context-based and relevant to my practices, more than all the formal opportunities out there. And indeed, informal PD opens more possibilities for collaborative practices that do not stumble upon systematic and hierarchical obstacles. And so, this way, actions and changes can take place quickly and dynamically in the educational landscape. And collaboration with colleagues has been central to my beliefs in education. So, naturally, in the beginning of my career, I was naturally drawn to teacher associations. So, collaboration with my colleagues has been central to my beliefs in education, as I was saying. And I was naturally drawn to teacher associations at the beginning of my career. Although they were never crucial, I have to admit, they have been important supplements for me. And although reflecting on my own experiences and my colleagues as well, I think there are some areas where currently favored methodology and teacher association activities do not fully align with our educators' needs, especially when considering global South contexts and perspectives. So I would argue for a model that values localized and collaborative learning, wide accessibility and the dialogue among educators at all levels of experience. And these are things that I feel the teacher associations, at least the ones that I know, they are missing out in some ways. And one curious fact, in terms of accessibility, I become aware that teacher associations are only reaching a small percentage of teachers, mostly targeting private institutions or the tertiary sector. In Brazil, my context, for example, there are, as you can see, according to the British Council, over 172,000 English language teachers, active ones in the country. But the largest teacher association with nationwide reach has only a little bit over 2,000 members. So it's hard to believe, dear colleagues, that the diversity of a vast population, teacher population, in a multicultural country like mine, with various teaching settings, we can see it's not adequately represented. There is no adequacy there. And another context that I know well is Turkey, because I have worked as an online teacher for a school network based in Istanbul. And talking to Murphy, I found out that Turkey's largest teacher association has about 1,000 members. It's very similar to Brazil because they have a little over 100,000 teachers in the country. So in all the global South countries, here where my colleagues come from, there might be no structured organization operating as a teacher association or network, such as in Syria and Afghanistan. And I feel that teacher associations in the global South have been effective in so many ways, collaborating and establishing bridges with the global North. This is evident, and this has been positive in so many ways. But I do believe that there is much room for improvement. And one fact is that global North dominance in professional development content translates into methodologies with Eurocentric perspectives, which do not usually align with our pedagogical needs, cultural contexts, or teaching conditions. Mostly they have to be adapted to our contexts. And it is undeniable that Eurocentric perspectives are relevant. I'm not saying they aren't, but they aren't aligned with what we need in the global South, mostly. And based on my experience, here are some things that I think teacher associations need to engage in more often. One is dialogic initiatives, favoring collaborative learning, wider accessibility, with educators of all levels of experience, including public and private sector institutions. At least in Brazil, this dialogic relationship doesn't happen too often. And not only that, primary, secondary, and higher education organizations, regular schools, bilingual, multilingual schools, language schools, this conversation among different sectors is not taking place. I feel that we are missing that dialogic relationship. And finally, teacher associations need to value contextual perspectives just as much as Eurocentric. And other teacher associations and other teacher networks have produced some wonderful initiatives, as we've heard here. But we do need to do much more. When I worked in a small city in the near end of the metropolitan area of Recife called Igaraçu some years ago, about a decade ago, I invited teachers from private, public, and language schools to participate in a small network. And we started with 18 teachers and reached up to 41 total. We kicked off our activities with the methodology course, built collaboratively. And so I conducted a few surveys trying to get the teachers' feeling from that initiative. And so these surveys revealed that they felt their creativity, proficiency, confidence in teaching, and sense of collaboration grew exponentially. And nowadays I serve as an advisor for a new public project by the city of Recife called Recife no Mundo, in English Recife in the World. And one initiative within this project, this Recife in the World project, involves English language teachers from the city's public schools, the public school network. And they take part in sessions facilitated. So we don't have a target group, we have a mixed group, people from primary, secondary, school leadership. And these sessions are mediated by teachers from the private sector we have selected. And this melting pot exchanges ideas, they design projects, they develop language proficiency projects, and they think of educational solutions for the language classes, all based in their contextual experiences being exchanged in this project. And it's brought many good things to the city of Recife. So from these experiences, I think that teacher associations can do much more, prioritizing dialogue between these different ELT sectors and really valuing diversity in the global south. And one thing is that teacher associations normally require membership fees, which is understandable when you need funds to promote your activities. However, in so many instances in the global south, fees can be a barrier. So why not creating more opportunities free of charge to involve those teachers who may feel marginalized? And why not creating also special interest groups focused on public schools, on what they do, instead of just language skills and systems. So this is something that could be done as well. And then these may change the reach and sometimes the elitist views of teacher associations in the global south. And many people see it that way. And then we may see more inclusive and wide-reaching teacher associations addressing diversity and inclusivity and being empowering for all, not just a privileged minority. And we believe that teacher associations and networks can very well serve this purpose if dialogue is at the heart of them and if they are arranged in a decentralized way. And to carry on talking more about teacher collaboration, I'll hand over to my friend and colleague, Sumaya.
Thank you, Liu. And thank you our colleagues to have shared their beautiful experiences on different kinds of collaboration through social networks, social media. And our next section will definitely follow through what Leo has shared with us. And we will also think that a local teacher group in a very limited way, the teachers in a limited territory or in a limited scale could benefit the community of ELT in a way that bigger communities cannot. First, I would like to share my experience, and then we will invite my colleague and friend Merve from Turkey and Esan from Syria to share their experiences. I would introduce myself again. I am Sumaya Akhtar from Bangladesh. I am currently teaching English language and linguistics in a private university in my hometown, Chattogram. My story begins when I was studying a professional Bachelor of Education right before the pandemic had hit us and devastated many of our lives. I found out that all our classes were shifted online and my instructors were struggling to deal with the online facilities, the technology of the teaching tools. And this made me realize how this global pandemic had in fact made us face our shortcomings that we had not noticed before. I found out that our digital literacy is very limited, even when we are probably living in a town. What about the teachers in remote areas in our country? This experience made me plan a kind of workshop that might help the teachers who are in remote areas with their digital literacy. I found out that ELT in our context, especially in remote area, is not really tech dependent. And the teachers are not familiar with the teaching tools or the teaching technology. And that's how I started to make a blueprint gradually to help make a workshop that would help these teachers who are teaching English in remote areas. And I found out that most of my experience related to technology and remote teaching through online platforms is mostly my experience from my teaching experience from teaching in Nigeria, remotely from Bangladesh during my undergraduate years. My Nigerian colleagues and my students had in fact benefited in my continuous professional development in a way that I still cannot fathom how much they had contributed to my journey. This experience of teaching in a different country with people with a different kind of mindset had in fact made me progress my own experience of teaching. I found out that this experience of me remotely teaching through online platform can in fact be used in the global pandemic situation as well. So when I joined my workforce, I met some wonderful colleagues who had immediately embraced my idea of developing a workshop for these teachers who are in remote areas. So we immediately started our planning and then we implemented it during the pandemic. We found out that there were many interested teachers who wanted to contribute to the community through that workshop. Our workshop was 3 days long with 4 sessions every day. And these sessions would range from teaching teachers on how to use technology or like teaching tools like Google Classroom or using Zoom or using Google Meet, which they were previously not familiar with. And we also used small Android softwares or apps called Kingsoft Office or WPS Office, which would help them make PowerPoint presentation in their smart devices easily that they could share with their students during their classes. So this would transform their classes into using social media like WhatsApp or let's say Messenger, and each of these small groups would become a small classroom for the students. And this had benefited the students a lot. When I reflected on the workshop that we had organized, I found out that this had indeed left a mark in my community. The teachers had shared their experiences with us through feedback, through emails, and they shared their joys of learning how to be more innovative in the way they can take classes through online platforms. And in this regard, in 2021, I was invited by the local chairman in my village hometown, who had awarded me with an acknowledgement for what I was able to do during the pandemic for this small community of teachers in my hometown. In the crowd of doctors and entrepreneurs, doctors who had saved lives and entrepreneurs who had in fact contributed to the economy of the community, I was humbled and honored to have received this recognition. I in fact love what I do, and with the community and with the colleagues that I have found, I was able to take part in the gradual progress of the other teachers, as well as this had helped me in my own professional development. I found out that my journey probably is not the same as many, but this can be this can be followed by many other people who will have an opportunity to contribute in their own ELT communities. Next, I would like to invite my friend Merve to share her journey.
Hello, I'm Merve, and I'm from a small state called Zonguldak in Turkey. And I have been teaching English as a foreign language for 10 years now in a state university where I live. And actually I started my education with translation studies. I studied translation studies, did my master's in translation studies, and I took a pedagogical formation course during my PA studies, and this decision probably kickstarted my journey as an educator. And when I started working at an English preparatory school in my own institution, I quickly realized that my journey to become the English teacher of my dreams would be a continuous one, because my colleagues that I've been working with had PhDs, they were publishing papers, and I only had a pedagogical formation course and no experience. So I started taking courses and attended webinars and online trainings. I wanted to enhance my teaching practice. And at the same time, I kept asking questions to my colleagues. I probably caused a lot of headache at the time, but I prefer calling this collaborative learning, which I believe had the most tremendous effect on me. And I was lucky because they were very supportive, and whenever I had a question, I would just had informal conversations. I would ask them, I would text them about anything and everything. And they were quite patient with me, and they would act as a mentor whenever I needed them. And after a couple of years, Teachers Professional Development Unit was founded, and I could benefit from the peer observations and peer-led trainings in my own institution as well. When the pandemic hit, just like dancing in Kenya, I enrolled in a TESOL certificate program, and this many other programs that I believed would help me enhance my skills and encourage my learners to attend my classes, because that was the biggest problem at the time, because attendance was not compulsory and they were not attending classes. And through these trainings, I can say that my approach to teaching transformed a lot. And they also helped me to feel more empowered. And after these trainings, I felt the need to cascade this knowledge with my colleagues. And just like Sumaya did in Bangladesh, I initiated Zoom session, which actually started with very informal meetings weekly. And my colleagues and friends from different English preparatory schools started to attend, and I was mostly talking about how to use some web applications or digital tools that would help and create a more engaging learning environment for our learners. And I can say that we started to see some benefits of these online meetings, and this actually started to act as a platform that we were able to share our success and failure stories, and we could also support each other during these challenging times. And through collaboration, we could see the change in our classes. We could see that more students were coming, and we could embrace more innovative methodologies and enhance our teaching practice altogether. After such an experience, I can say that my journey from translation studies to becoming an English teacher that I wanted to be has been characterized by collaborative learning, as well as the type of professional development my friends were talking about, which were self-initiated. And I believe, as an educator, in fostering this collaborative spirit between our colleagues, and I believe that this would be helpful in learning from each other and integrating the technology, the methodologies that we would benefit from in our teaching. And in this way, I believe that we can excel in learning and teaching. So, over to you.
Both Merve and Sumaya have stressed the importance of collaboration in their CPD journeys, both for themselves and as something they want to enhance with the others. They've also talked about their responses to an educational crisis, the pandemic situation. Now I'd like you to imagine fleeing your home, the life you knew fading away, and your education is nothing but a common and forgotten casualty of war. Now picture yourself standing in a classroom of eager young people, full of potential and desperate for quality English language education. How could I, an English teacher displaced by war myself, have a positive influence on the lives of these learners and teachers as well? My name is Ihsan Arnaout from Homs, Syria, a war-torn country where I found that teacher collaboration is crucially important for the development of vulnerable and conflict-affected ELT practitioners. And here's my story. Volunteering alongside the internally displaced teachers towards promoting to promote youth participation and empowerment ignited my passion to teach English. I found purpose in the unlikeliest of places. UNICEF supported educational centers and makeshift classrooms. There, many English teachers were sequestered each into their own centers, leaving them unable to collaborate and deliver the curriculum effectively, while facing a lot of complaints and job insecurity despite their major sacrifices. Now, witnessing the challenges my fellow teachers were facing due to the conflict inspired me to seek collaborative actions actively and find ways to ease our burden. Now, adopting a team mentality was a must, and so was fostering a collaborative teaching environment. And I'm sorry. And I started by establishing a shared vision, and also focusing group sessions to share experiences, and expertise, insights, and feedback. I've also assigned tasks and schedules for refugee teacher groups based on availability and topic-related interests. And I also offered flexible timing to address the time constraints, again, due to the conflict. Now, this led to co-teaching and context-sensitive solutions, which enabled teachers and teacher assistants to collaborate in the same classroom, for example, on productive lesson planning and differentiated instruction. We also adopted peer mentoring and teacher and informal teacher-to-teacher sharing in order to connect those inexperienced teachers with the more experienced teachers by implementing reflective practice and classroom observations. Now, this led us to share our success stories, our successful teaching strategies and approaches with optimal results. I also encouraged content sharing of resources to cater for refugees' specific needs. For example, we managed to apply knowledge we obtained from MOOCs and courses by the British Council. For example, the course Teaching and Success, or Teaching and Lesson Planning, Teaching for Success in the MENA region. Now, these endeavors resulted in a unity of purpose and a community of practice. In these ways, I believe I defied the odds, transforming isolated, disconnected classrooms of displaced teachers and learners into a thriving community of cooperative teachers. And this is how other English teachers and I could support one another. And this is how it's supposed to be, to promote teacher resilience. Finally, these experiences have taught me how essential teacher collaboration is for CPD in difficult circumstances. Thank you.
Well, today we've heard inspiring stories from my fellow educators. each demonstrating resilience, determination, and innovation in the face of diverse challenges. From navigating economic sanctions, financial constraints, pandemic, and conflicting situations, to taking advantage of online learning platforms, social media and associations, networks, and smaller CPD group, we have shown the power of continuous professional development. Our own stories highlight the significance of assuming agency, seizing initiatives, and being curious about new ideas and situations, viewing them not as risks, but as opportunities for growth. Despite the obstacles that we have encountered, we can see that our commitment to lifelong learning, adaptation, and collaboration is what ultimately drives our success as educators.